sound is.
Nick, we love comedians on Uzo Talk, so does it surprise you that we have another one in our midst today?
It doesn't surprise me, Tom, but then we're not really funny, so we need someone to entertain us, I guess, and
True.
our listeners.
We need the comic relief. Look, we've had Angelo Tsaroukas, Anthony Lacascio, we've even had one of today's guests co-stars in a number of projects in the form of Mary Coustas. So
Legend.
I couldn't be more excited to have this legend with us, right, mate? He's laughing already.
Are you telling me Mary Coustas was here drinking Tsipuro with you guys? Did she drink Tsipuro?
Now, she had mastica with crushed lime, fresh lime juice and ice.
Could you take a mastica out first before she had the crushed lime? That girl was always chewing in the show. It's a bit rude. Why you bring your mastica? Spit it out.
Classic.
I can't believe you've already finished one of these.
Yeah.
I've had 2 sips, I'm drunk.
Yeah.
And you finished a whole one before we've even started.
Mate, we haven't even started yet, believe me. This is going to get
Actually,
worse.
is this working? It might not be working. But we're done for nothing.
It is.
I don't know what that says about us. Well, look, you've heard his voice now, but let us tell you.
She's back in Melbourne, kiddo. Yorina.
Yeah.
Even though she comes from Sydney. My wife comes from
There you
Sydney.
go.
And here I am. I spend more time with my Bethara than my wife.
There you go. Bonus points.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right?
Absolutely.
Guess the suburb. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Elwood.
Correct.
So that or Marrickville.
Yeah, it's one of the two.
My wife grew up in Marrickville.
Yeah,
then they
there you
moved to
go.
Elwood.
There you go. There you go. Well, as I said, you've heard his voice now, but with us in the distillery today, we have a stand-up comedian, actor, producer, musician, and Greek who, in many ways, has become an icon of stage and television in Australia for his unique brand of comedy. First brought to audiences in the hugely popular stage show Wogs Out of Work, where he appeared alongside Mary and Nick Giannopoulos. He's appeared in films including Alex and Eve, Big Mama's Boy, Thunderstruck, Bloody Footy, Fat Pizza, Howzo's the Movie, Closer and Closer Apart, and Joey. He was also part of the controversial and incredibly popular Underbelly. But it's his role as Memo in the iconic TV series Acropolis Now that he's possibly best known for. Of course, we're talking about the great George Kapiniaris.
Kapiniaris. Have another Tsipuro.
That's what I'm blaming it on.
Actually, where's this Tsipuro from? I was surprised when you told me where it was from.
Vittorio Spirits, it is. It's a distillery. I'm pretty sure it was... I think it's
Australian.
Victoria
It's
somewhere.
Australian.
No, manufactured in South Australia.
South Australia, yeah, perfect.
All we know is it's pretty good. That's
Bloody
all we
good.
need.
It hits the spot, that's for sure.
It is.
Absolutely.
I'm singing Kira Yorina.
That's already. We're only a couple of minutes in. But yes, we do have George Kapiniaris in the studio with us.
Thank you
Welcome.
for your hospitality, Mizadakia. I don't eat olives or tarama. I'm not that Greek. I'm Greek, but not that Greek. But you can have that. I'll have the salami. It's a bit Italian, but anyway. And beautiful cheese, and we've got the figs there. Thank you. I feel welcome. Thank you for having me, both of you.
Mate, we couldn't be prouder to have you in here. We're big fans. I've always been a big fan of your work. I know Nick has as well. There's only one way to start this off properly, and I mean, George has already alluded to the fact we may have polished a bottle already, but let's have a drink either way. What do you reckon, Nick?
I think we
All right,
should. We
here
already
we go.
have, but
Ella.
let's continue.
Yamas.
Yamas.
Here we
Yamas.
go.
Cheers, boy.
Chin, chin. Ella, clink. Oh, and the sound's good too. I love the sound on this.
That's it. Oh, here we go. Aspropato?
Asprobato.
No way, I'm not doing that. I've got a gig.
Well, you've got a gig shortly, so
I've got a gig tonight. Shall we tell everyone what I'm doing?
what are you doing
interesting.
tonight?
What are you doing?
So I'm helping out with it's the Greek rugby team are in the World Cup.
The Greek Rugby League. Yep.
So rugby league. Sorry, I have to say rugby league. Apparently, when I say rugby, it doesn't mean rugby league.
No, it means rugby union when you say rugby
Really?
by itself.
That's
Yes.
That's the other
Why do we
competition.
call it rugby then? Let's take out the rugby and just call it league.
Some people do call it league.
Not a bad
Anyway,
idea.
the NRL.
Yeah. After.
After, you know what I'm talking about. So they've got a Greek team in the World Cup.
So we had the boys here the other week, actually. A few
in
of the players. Yeah.
podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's weird about that team, I've already found out, is they're based in Sheffield in England.
Yep. For the World Cup.
And now Greece are playing England in the World Cup, but the home ground is Sheffield, which is in England.
Yes.
Which is very confusing, isn't it? But cool. How cool is that?
And they're the home team. Greece is the home
And they're
team
the home
against
team.
England.
So,
Unbelievable.
but I can't wait to go to the function tonight and find out more about, because apparently they've got the guys and they've got a female team as well. And the female team are a really good team as well.
They are. They're playing Turkey in a few weeks, apparently.
We can't wait because we're going to be there with you, mate. We'll
So
cheer
they're
you
all
on.
Greeks. They haven't got any like New Zealanders or Fijians in there.
They're actual
Maybe a mix.
Greeks. Yeah,
They're all Greeks. There's no. They won't be doing a haka. They'll be doing a malaka.
No. What would a Greek haka look like?
Malaka, malaka, gamoto, gamoto, kiskipsiki, lipsiki.
Classic.
I'd be scared of that.
I would. I am scared
I'd
of
be
that.
more scared than a haka. Haka's nothing compared to a malaka.
Yeah.
It's the one word
classic.
everyone, even if you're not Greek, everyone knows that
Yeah,
word.
they know that word because I've got it as part of my routine at the moment. And
Yeah.
even if there's no Greeks in the crowd, they still go. They go, "Oh, malaka."
And people know what it means instinctively.
If they don't, I explain what it means, but they know. They know.
But it's like that bit Billy Connolly had a few years back where he was saying, if you tell someone to fuck off, even if they don't understand English, off they will fuck.
Yeah,
They know
yeah,
instinctively
yeah.
what it means.
or they'll say to you, "No, you fuck off."
Yeah.
Fucking.
Yeah, but fucker means something else.
Yeah.
In Greek, it means mousetrap.
It
The
does.
fucker, yes.
Yeah, because if you
does.
catch the mouse, you catch the little motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, I think we talked about this one of our episodes.
I think we did.
Yeah.
How do you say seal?
Seal.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
how do you
It
say-
sounds like a Scottish seal. Fuck yeah.
How do you say lentils?
Fuck yes.
Yep.
Because when you get your fuck yes and you're really looking forward to getting them,
Yep.
you go, fuck yes.
What else was it? Torch?
There's a fucko.
torch?
Fuck off.
Yeah, which is a
Fuck all.
torch because, in ancient Greece, a guy was looking for his stuff and he got his torch out and he found, he went, fucko. And a fuck yellow.
Fuck your lord.
Fuck
Envelope
yellow.
and mousetrap.
Again, because if you're Greek and you're going to get the mail, you get the mail out of the mailbox, you go, fuck hello. And fuck you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
That means if you have sex with lucky.
Yeah.
No,
Or
fuck
fuck
you're
if you're
lucky is
lucky.
an envelope.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
special envelope that you get.
Okay, it's how Greek pizzas are
Fuck
done.
you're lucky.
Fuck
I'm
you're
sure
lucky.
there's more.
That's it.
Fuck yes. So we've gone from malakas to fuck yes.
Yeah. Well, that was 5, I think.
There you go. Drink
We've,
up.
we've covered all the important stuff. Yeah, much. We're not
Cheers
even...
again, boys. Yeah.
Have a sip. Oh, we're off to a flying start.
No, we are. Let's see.
Hits the spot, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
If he's drunk on stage tonight, do we own up and say we're the ones we're
I'm going to
to
blame you because I poured the first one. You poured the second. I think the second one is going to send.
We'll
you
be
off
responsible.
Can't get drunk. Can't
Yeah,
get
no.
stage. No more, no more.
We'll be
I'm
responsible.
professional.
Just let it touch your lip and back down
But
again.
they already paid me, so
Okay.
big mistake.
That wouldn't be Greek if you weren't drinking.
Just ένα το καλό.
Yeah,
You know what I
για το
mean?
καλό.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Well, what's the δεύτερο? If one's for good, what's the 2?
So this has been a Greek day because for lunch I had a voulemon super at
did
my
you?
Pethera's house.
How good's that?
So and then this. So
Well,
this
that'll
is good.
soak it up.
This is a
That's
good day.
fine. You're okay.
Yeah, cool.
You mind your stomach? Well, we've got to start off. Let's start off with your Greek credentials. So tell us where your parents were born, or were you born in Greece? Or were you born here?
No, I was born in Melbourne, so Greece.
Yep.
Definitely.
I was born in Melbourne.
Yep.
So my dad was from Kalamata,
Beautiful.
but my papu was from Koroni, which is near Kalamata. You know the saying, "Έχεις μπάρμπα στη Koroni"?
Actually, yes.
It's a famous saying.
Okay.
You're all sorted if you got a barba in Koroni.
Oh, they're well
Because
off. were
Koroni,
they?
apparently, they used to keep gold in Koroni. Is the story I heard. So if you have a barba if you have an uncle in Koroni, you're all sorted out.
Yeah, we've learnt something today. yeah.
Oddly enough, we never saw the money. Never saw the money.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
So
Did you get any of
my
it?
papu was a fisherman.
Okay.
So, and his name was George, like mine, George Kapiniaris, but they used to call him Monandiro.
Well, none
So
of
if you went to Greece and you went, "Oh, is George Kapiniaris here?" They go, "Who?"
Yeah.
And then you go, "Monandiro." They go, "Oh, yeah, no, he lives down the street." And it's funny because I'm his grandson and I had Crohn's disease when I was younger, so I had half my bowel cut out. So I'm actually a Monandiro. I've only got
Wow.
one intestine because the other one was cut out.
You're kidding.
So instead of a colon, I've got a semicolon. That's why my English is so good.
Classic. Wow. And what about
Classico.
your mum? Yeah, classy.
So, and then my mum comes from, her name is Sultana, right?
Ikira
She raised
Sultana.
me. Sultana, Susie we call her, and she's from Katerini,
Okay.
which is near Mount Olympus.
Yes.
Yeah, just off there.
Do you guys go back at all?
Yeah. Last time we went back was 2019.
Yeah,
so,
right.
My parents met on the boat, on the Patris.
Oh, you're kidding.
So from different sides of Greece, and so if my dad was always early, I'm always late. So if my dad took after me, I wouldn't be alive now because he'd missed the boat.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
luckily,
the Patris keeps coming up on this show, and
Yeah.
with good reason, obviously, because so many people came out with it.
Definitely.
What are your parents' recollections of it? They must have
They had
spoken
a ball.
about it.
They had a ball.
Yeah.
Apparently, they had a great time. Young people on a
Yeah.
boat. They met all their kubari there.
Yeah.
Wow, your dad found a wife there.
My dad met my mum, and then they met on the boat. And they got to know each other. And when they got to Melbourne, my mum lived in Collingwood, and my dad lived in Richmond.
Ooh, okay.
So,
See where this is going.
Richmond and Collingwood,
Don't get on.
don't get on.
Very
It's
rivals.
it's like
Yeah, we have it here.
the
Like
Rabbitohs
Souths
and the
Roosters. Yeah.
and the Roosters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my dad went into Collingwood territory and asked my uncle for my because my mum lived with my uncle, so her
Wow.
brother, and asked to see her, and then eventually they got married. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's the story there.
There you go. And what year was it? Did they leave?
60.
Okay.
1960,
So-
and I was
okay.
born in 62, so
Wow.
they had a bit of practice. And
I see, because my dad was on the Patrice as well.
what
And my
year was
yeah.
that?
62.
So,
Yeah, it's a bit
Yeah, I
after,
think it kept
yeah.
going. There was another one, the Elinis.
Elinis, yeah.
I think it was the
I've
other
heard that
guy.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a few.
The
The
Patrice
Santa
was the-
Maria,
Santa Maria. I think the Patrice was the main one, though. I think it
Bob
kept on
Santa
going.
Maria. Yeah. Remember Bob Santa Maria? Did you get Bob Santa Maria?
No.
Or maybe it was just in Melbourne.
I don't know. Who's
It
that?
was this guy. He used to complain. It was like the political agenda of the day.
Yeah.
Bob Santa Maria. No, you didn't get him. It
And
doesn't
we didn't get
matter.
him here.
Doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Doesn't make
I'm
sense.
sure the Victorians are laughing. They're
Yeah.
rolling in.
Yeah,
We're showing
Bob
our
Santa Maria.
regionality here.
Speaking of Victorian colours, I'm glad you guys have got the Victorian colours.
We actually
the navy
do.
blue and white. Because I remember getting dressed up for Greek school, and we wore blue and white. We didn't wear that baby blue and white colour.
No.
We wore that navy blue with it, so I think you got it right. So big
Yeah.
round of applause for the Uzo Talk.
Thank
Yeah,
you for the
thank
brand.
They got it right. And that's why I wore the
Got the user cap.
colours too.
We
I got the Uzo
coordinated.
cap, Yeah.
Yeah, oh, you look good in it. You
I
look
love
good.
it. I
They're
love the logo.
highly sought
I love the
after.
cap.
The time we actually got to order more. We've
Yeah,
run
we
out.
do.
I
Do
just
you sell
posted.
them? Do you sell them online? Or?
We do, yeah.
We don't really advertise, but we do sell them. We just sold another 2 today.
Yeah.
So yeah, people are reaching
Yeah,
out
I reckon
to
they'd
us.
be popular.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, all around the world. Because you've had Angelo Tsoroukas on, of course. So.
Yeah, he's worn it everywhere. I guess he's always on Instagram. He wore it at.
He was in Disneyland. He was
Disneyland
in
with it.
Vegas.
Yeah.
He's now on a cruise ship somewhere.
Yeah, they do the cruise ships. Him and Basil do the
Yeah, they do.
Mediterranean cruises.
Yeah. Well, just on your parents there as well. Like, was there a reason why the two of them came out? A lot of the stories we've heard, obviously, are people coming out to Australia for a better life and whatever the case
Yeah.
may be. Was there a particular reason why your parents came out?
No, I think it was basically half the family. Because my dad came from a family with 18 kids.
Oh, geez,
So he was number 18.
Oh,
He's
God.
the youngest.
So,
So what did he inherit?
nothing.
So
Fuck all. That's a Greek word. Fuck all.
that's another one.
Fuck all, basically.
It's number 6.
Yeah, got nothing.
Because that's
Got
the way it
nothing.
worked over there as well. Like,
Yeah, and I think the
all
people that stayed in Greece with the parents
Yeah.
basically got the inheritance.
Sure.
And the ones that came to Australia,
Yeah. Amipo.
same with my mum. She left, and then
Yeah.
So it was. I don't know if they drew straws or what happened. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of that going on at the time as well. The families were sending the younger kids so they could come
For
and
a better
work,
life.
but also to be able to send money back to help the family out.
Yeah.
It's usually the
what
eldest stayed back, I think. The eldest stayed back, and then the second and the third and so forth sort of spread their wings and went all around the world. So
Well, imagine what kind of a journey that would have been.
Yeah.
It's hard enough for us going back to Greece.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it
These
only
people
takes a
came-
day.
Yeah.
These people came here. They didn't have the language. They didn't have anything.
And stuck on a boat for 3 months.
Stuck on a
What do you
boat.
think?
I was talking to a lady here in Sydney, so my mother-in-law's neighbour, and she said she went to, where was it? Rockhampton?
Yep.
It was up north somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So
There's a few Greeks up there.
her partner, or the person she was supposed to marry, came up first 2 years earlier to some place like Rockhampton or Townsville, one of those.
Yep.
and he, worked cutting cane and working on the rail tracks, and then he built a house or bought a house in a little town. She's come here, and she's gone, where am I?
Yeah.
There is nothing here.
Yeah.
Just the house. So
crazy.
imagine coming from Greek town,
Yeah.
where you know all your neighbours, you know the street, and then you go to nothing.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, my mum said she cried for the first 3 to 6 months when she got here. So they ended up coming to Tempe. She was one of the luckier ones. She flew here. She came on Qantas, actually. It took her 6 days to get here on a plane. They ended up in Tempe. So we're from the mountains in Ipiro, right? So the air is clean, the water's, it's cleanest water you can drink. She came here to Tempe where it's smog, it was pollution, there was no greenery. And
She saw Tempe Station.
yeah, and she virtually cried. She goes, Nick, I cried for 3 months. She goes, where am I?
Yeah.
This is not our life. I can't even breathe here, And there was no fresh produce and like they were used to in the mountains. But but like typical Greeks, all knuckled down and got jobs and worked and just got on with life, Copped shit along the way, but didn't care. They kept on moving forward.
They found their horta. They found their...
along the side of the street,
Well, what did your
classic.
parents do for work?
So my dad was a printer, but he worked on the railways, was his first job. And then he was an apprentice, printer apprentice when he was younger. So that's what he ended up doing. And then my mum was a machinist. So, if she stayed in Greece, she would have been a teacher.
Right.
So she finished high school. So she came to Australia, or she couldn't be a teacher.
And did she teach you Greek, or was that
actually they
outsourced?
Helped me. No, they helped me a lot, and I think it's parents and grandparents. I think of my sons. My sons are 14 and 11. My eldest can speak Greek because we had Yaya at the house.
Yeah, that's a common theme.
So Yaya
actually.
came down from Sydney and was there all the time, so he can speak beautiful Greek. He doesn't even go to Greek school anymore, but he can speak it. And then John's got no idea. John just looks around. Ohi.
Well, I think that's the
He
common
doesn't say
theme.
ohi. He goes ohi.
Or he.
That's the common theme, though. Like, even for me, I grew up with my grandparents as well. My younger brother, we'd moved out of the house by then, can barely speak a word of Greek. So it seems to be a common thread.
So I've got a question for you. Who's Greek, are you or your brother?
Look, I think we both feel the same about it. I think
Okay.
we're both pretty proud of it. It's just that he didn't have the
language.
exaskisi. He didn't get to exercise the Greek.
It's a
as
fantastic
often.
word, by the way.
Did you like that one?
I have
I
no
did.
idea
I'm
what that
very
word.
impressed.
I've never heard that word before, but I
Really?
understand exactly.
I'm glad you said that, Joel. I
Yeah.
had no idea either.
But how I know
I
exactly
just
what he
smiled
said.
and nodded. And
Exaskisi.
I know what you're talking
I
about.
was interviewed on Greek radio, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I know
love
this
it.
stuff.
No, your Greek is
Exaskisi,
really good.
I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Εν πάση περιπτώσεις,
Yeah, that's a good
δηλαδή, στο συγκριτικό... I like
you're
using
selling
words
it
that I
well.
don't even know what they mean.
You're selling it well, though,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's half the
Έχω
battle.
κατάθλιψη.
Classic. Do you know the longest Greek word in the world?
What is it?
Oh, here we go.
Skoliko mermingotripa. True. Do you know what that is?
Is it like you got worms
my
or
dad-
something? Is that what it means?
Skoliko mermingotripa. So it's the little hole where the ants and the worms go down in.
That's
what
a
it
great
means.
word.
So they've got a word for that.
That's a good word.
My dad used to tell me that all the time.
I think there's a rude variation of that
But
as
you
well.
know what?
Is
You
there?
break
Yeah.
up that word. It's just three simple words put together.
Yeah. Skoliko
Skoliko, mermingo,
tripa.
kolot.
Yeah. Golotripa.
That's where the gay ring was. Stop it.
Which we
Can't
invented.
do that we
We
invented it,
invented
so
it.
we can do that. We
That's
can do
it.
that. Yeah. Okay.
We went to great lengths with Angela to point that out. It's ours. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, look, you grew up obviously in probably the second largest Greek city in the world, Melbourne. Second or third largest.
I reckon it's the second.
I think
So
it is too.
what's after Athens?
Thessaloniki or
Well, I think
Thessaloniki's
I
only
think
a
it is
million
actually
people.
Melbourne.
Yeah.
I think it is actually Melbourne and then
Mind
Thessaloniki.
you, we've got 500,000 or had 500,000 Greeks. And then after pandemic, lost a few. Thanks, Daniel Andrews. Anyway,
We'll talk about that.
yeah, we'll get on to that.
no. I think we had 500,000, but now we're losing a whole generation
Yeah.
of Greeks, aren't we? You know, my parents' generation.
Yeah.
Probably your parents, if you said they came out in 62.
Yeah,
They're all
but then again, we're having
dropping
kids.
off.
Like you said, you're having kids, and
Yeah,
they're
that's
teaching
right.
the
We're having
language.
kids, true.
But it is diluting. You say they're still Greek, but they don't carry the language.
Yeah.
But
Look,
then,
my son, who's 14, and my youngest, they're still proud of being Greek.
yeah,
You know, I don't know why, because they went to Greece, all they did was complain the whole time.
Yeah.
But still proud.
Wait till they turn 18.
Dad. We don't want this shit. We want nuggets. What's this?
Wait till they start going to Greece by themselves.
Eat it, bumyas. It's good for you. No, Dad. We want nuggets. We hate this stuff. Bums. We're going to eat bums now.
That's what you said. The bums.
I used to hate eating bunions. Little furry-looking things.
Look,
Furry
growing
and
up in
slimy.
Melbourne.
Yeah, ugh.
Priests
but
love them.
now I love them.
Priest.
Oh,
Look,
classic.
growing up in Melbourne, it's such a big Greek community. What was that like for you?
Well, I grew up in Richmond too, which was very Greek. When we moved to Doncaster when I was, say, year 8, what's that? Form 2 as we called it.
Yeah.
So like 13, 14.
13. That was a culture shock because I was the only Greek at the school. So there was myself and another George who was Masso,
Yep.
let's say, Northern Macedonian.
Yep.
And we were the only Greekish kids in the school. The rest were all Aussies.
Right.
So we moved to East Doncaster, which was the outer suburbs, which is now very Greek.
Yeah. Mary said the same thing. She had the same experience.
Yeah, she lived near me. So they lived in Greythorne, which
Yeah,
is
right.
like down the road from us. So, yeah, so going from...
So you had that culture shock where it was all
And
the-
she grew up in Abbotsford, which was like Collingwood. It was
Right.
Like, was that sort of an area. And now that area is Vietnamese.
Okay.
It's got the most Vietnamese restaurants probably in Australia. And Richmond is now like yuppie. It's like Marrickville, I guess. It's
Yeah,
gone all
okay.
yuppie.
Well, Marrickville was Anglo, then it went Greek, then it went
Yeah.
Vietnamese,
Yeah.
and now it's the yuppies are coming in.
Yuppies are coming
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
And yet it's still called Little Greece now, officially.
It is. Well, they're
Is
still
it?
hanging
It
on.
is, yeah. They've got a beautiful new mural on the side of a shop there. That's actually a dedication to the Patris, oddly
Fantastic.
enough. So we'll show you
Gotta
that later.
check
if
that
you-
out.
Yeah,
Gotta check
it's,
it out.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, so what was it like growing up in Melbourne? So
Yeah,
there's so many
so-
Greeks there. Did it feel like? Do you feel like an outcast?
It was the norm, and I
or-
went to Greek. No, not at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
I went to Greek school. I went to Kyriotousis Greek school.
Sure. Yeah.
The whole thing, and then things started changing a little bit when a lot of the flats started. The housing commission flats started.
Right,
So then
okay.
all of a sudden we were getting Yugoslavian kids before
Okay.
they were Croatians and Serbians
Okay.
and Bosnians. We were getting the Yugoslavian kids coming in. So that was kind of a culture shock. Because they knew new tricks that you'd never seen before. They used to do that eyelid thing, where they roll the eyelid and I'm a zombie and chase you around.
Oh, okay.
So, and then we had the Turkish kids coming in.
Okay.
And so our parents were saying the Turkish are the enemy.
But
You know,
then-
we were still friends, but then we get into fights because it was our duty as Greeks.
So there was a lot of that happening at that stage.
Yeah. So I was in a couple of fights with a couple of kids who I liked, but we just got into fights because it was Greek versus the Turks.
Wow.
What was it like with the skippies, so to speak?
Again, because I was at, Yarra Park and Richmond High School, there was more Greeks than skippies.
Really?
But the skippies were all right.
Yeah.
John Brown, I remember I had a mate called John Brown. There's 8 brothers and sisters. And we had Femi Fazula was a good friend of mine. Femi Fazula, who was Albanian,
Wow.
There you go.
whose mum was quite big, very big lady. So
Yeah.
when our grade 5 teacher told us about the birds and the bees, and Femi was going, nah, there's no way my mum would do that.
Classic.
Nah, I can't believe my dad did that with my mum.
Yeah. Wow.
No way.
And he'd be telling you this. Jeez.
Classic.
Well, when did you... there's
And
obviously
we
comedy
didn't
in that.
play soccer. We played football. We played AFL.
Really?
We didn't really play soccer. I played soccer later on. If I grew up in South Melbourne, because that's where Hellas was, South Melbourne Hellas, maybe I would have played soccer. But Richmond, we played football.
Yeah.
So, and I lived right near the Punt Road Oval and the MCG. So we were the closest school. So
Right.
I was always going to the training sessions and the talks and all that sort of stuff. So it's a pretty exciting area to be in when I was a kid. Yeah.
Well, so many of our guests who have been involved in sport and whatnot have spoken about how they used, let's call them Australian sports, rugby league, Aussie rules and whatnot. They used it as a way to integrate and make friends and whatnot. Is that the same sort of
Well,
thing? for you?
yeah, and that's right. So we'd be playing sport together. So there'd be John Brown,
Yep.
in the forward line kicking goals. And there'd be Theo as a bit ruckman because he had hair before anyone else did. So he had a beard in year 8.
Yeah.
Classic.
And he was taller than everyone.
Brown to Kapiniaris.
So,
Brown to Theo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you grew up being a Richmond supporter, obviously.
yeah, I was a Richmond supporter, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So there was that. That was exciting too. And I used to go to the footy with my dad. So My dad and I went.
So he got into it
but
too?
I used to go to the soccer as well. I used to go to
Okay.
the Hellas games, you know. But I didn't love it then as much as I love it now.
Yeah, right.
I didn't get it then.
Are you a mental patient for it now?
Yeah, I'm pretty into it.
Yeah.
You know, I get up for the Socceroos games, you know, I do that sort of thing. But I don't get up for the Arsenal games.
Sure, gotcha.
Yet my son gets up for the Liverpool games.
Okay.
So he'll get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So
Good on him. Good
he loves soccer more than me. He loves AFL, but he loves soccer.
Yeah.
And that's how he broke his leg. He broke his leg in two playing soccer.
Yeah, you were saying that just before we went on.
Yeah, and still,
Jeez.
and his therapy was to actually keep going to the games, you know, even though he was in a wheelchair or on crutches.
Yeah.
You wanted to be
He'd go and see his team every week play.
Wow.
What's his name?
Peter.
Peter. Yashu Peter.
Petro.
You're doing well,
Petro.
mate.
Pedro, you
You're doing-
legend.
So that's another interesting topic. So my wife and I keep having this argument about, you know, I wanted to call him Petro and you called him Peter. Like it's the same thing. Petro's Greek. My name's Yorgo, but I'm George. You know,
Yeah.
your name's Fatini, but it's Fotini. So, you know,
Is he named after your dad? Or?
my dad. So that's we did that because both granddads have passed away. So
it's a
Peter was
common
named
thing.
after my dad and John was named after his dad.
It's an interesting concept, though, isn't it? Like a lot of the, you know, trying to westernize some of the Greek names here. Like this is a discussion that my wife and I have been having for years now about, okay, what do we name our kids? You know, when we have more, because we've got the one now. The first one's named after my dad, so it's her turn next.
Yeah.
Now her parents are both named Spiro and Efrosini.
Right.
It's not a good. It's not a good translation.
All right, so, no, there's, you know how I can't believe it's not bacon, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's a version of Spiro that you can get, so you can be Spiro,
Spiro's okay.
or you can be Steve. So I've got a friend called Spiro. You know Tony Nikolakopoulos with a neck brace in the Wog Boy.
Yeah.
Oh,
His
right.
older brother is a Spiro, but
Okay.
we call him Steve.
Yep.
Okay.
Or you can be Ross.
Ross. Yeah, actually, my cousin's
So
name
Spiro
Ross.
Ross.
Or Dion is another one that.
Dion is my brother's name. So
There you
with
go.
my brother, who's 20 years younger than me,
Yeah.
I said to my parents, we're calling him Dennis because I don't want him to get bashed at school for being a Dionysi. There's no way. So he's
Yeah.
going to be Dennis, okay?
Yeah.
That's the rule. I'm making up this rule. Dennis, we're going to call him Dennis. It's going to be Dennis. He changed it back to Dion.
Really?
You did your best.
I did my best.
Yeah.
He doesn't like Dennis at all.
But,
But
it's
how do I-
actually cool now, isn't it, to have European
Dion.
names?
He loves his name, yeah, Dion.
Yeah, back then it wasn't.
But how do I solve for Efrosini without calling them F?
So, all right, let's work on Efrosini, which again is Tony Nico's mum's name. So,
Okay.
Efrosini. So,
So this is good for me now.
Yeah,
you know, we're
Frost.
trying to figure this out.
Rossini. So, this is
Rossini.
Steve.
What
who
about
we were
Rossini?
talking about. His daughter's name is Rossini.
Okay,
So, they took the F off.
that's good.
Rossini.
What about
Which is
Sini?
very good.
Just call her Sini.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, Sini. My wife is a Futini, calls herself Tony. If people just get, you know, probably at one stage she was just sick of people going, what? Fatima?
Yeah.
So just call me Tony.
See, I was hoping for funnier.
Funny? Yeah,
That's good. Too.
funny.
These are entirely sensible suggestions
good.
now. That's brilliant. I'm going to
Not
note
good if
these
you become
down.
a stripper, you know. What's your name? Fanny.
Oh.
That's good.
Right.
It's as described on the box,
Yeah,
so to
yeah.
speak.
Right.
Classic. Good
So
stuff.
when did you realise you were funny? Obviously, there's got to be a lot of comedy in growing up in an area like that, in a
Yeah.
melting pot like
My
that.
dad was really funny.
Yeah.
Really?
So my dad, I don't know if that had an impression on me, but he was a really funny guy. So he was the life of the party. So I guess if he grew up now, he might have been a stand-up comedian. So whenever we had a party at home, or yordi, he'd be telling the jokes.
Really?
Kidding. Wow.
Now, if he could do that on stage, I don't know, but I can.
Yeah.
That's where I thrive. So in this situation, I'm a bit shy, a bit nervous, but on the stage is where I thrive, where I
Yeah.
become another person. So
Wow.
maybe that's it. But
So you
on the
said-
stage is where I'm most comfortable.
Wow. So behind the mic, you're not very comfortable, but
Yeah, I'm okay behind the mic in a dinner table situation.
Yeah.
Unless I'm sort of involved, I don't jump in. You know, some people just jump in and tell story after
Yeah.
story.
You don't feel the need to be the
No, I
centre
don't
of
do that.
attention.
No, I
Yeah.
well, it's
prefer
not
to-
comfortable, you think.
I'll jam. I prefer to listen, but in the situation of being on stage is where
Yeah.
I find my voice. Yeah.
We've had this discussion before with Angelo and Anthony and whatnot. The notion that comedians were either the class clown or the introverts. Now,
Mind you, at school I was a class clown. I used to get sent out of the room a lot.
did you?
Yeah, I do remember that. So, yeah, it's funny. It's funny. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Was your dad your idol? Was he your inspiration to get into comedy, or What
No.
made you get in?
No, not at all.
Oh,
He was
okay.
just he never told me any jokes
But you
because
seen
they were
him.
dirty jokes. So
Okay.
he told my cousins,
Yeah.
and my cousins still tell me, "You're not as funny as your dad. Your
Wow.
dad was funnier than you."
Oh, wow.
And then my wife says, "You're not as funny as me. I'm funnier than you."
Yeah.
And she's one of those people that
Don't get no
stands at the end of the
respect.
table and tells the stories. My wife.
Right.
But once I dragged her onto the stage, she couldn't talk
Oh, really?
because I thought, here's a good way of making money. So I dragged her on. No, she froze. And from
Really?
yeah, it was like a
So
fundraiser for the school.
Where did you do that to? Or was it like a...
It's a fundraiser
Oh, it was a
for the
fundraiser.
kindergarten.
Yeah, right.
And
So
she
you guys
just
are like
froze.
yin and yang. So she could sit at a dinner table.
But the
and
dinner
talk.
table,
She's fine.
yeah,
She's comfortable.
He can't get a word in.
Okay. There you go. Match made in heaven, Tom.
That's it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
good stuff.
What sort of comedy were you influenced by at that age? Were you watching things like Monty Python or stand-up
Yeah,
comedians?
before then, I was watching, Jerry Lewis, Abbott and Costello,
Beautiful.
Bob Hope. I love Bob Hope. The Marx Brothers, not that much, but still I like them. Three Stooges, all that stuff. And then it went over to the next phase. It was probably Benny Hill, all those sorts of shows. And then we moved into Monty Python. Not so much, but I still enjoyed them. I
Yeah.
remember, I didn't study in year 12. I just watched Monty Python the whole time. So
Did you?
What about Eddie Murphy in the 80s?
Eddie Murphy I loved,
Raw.
and I loved Raw, but I had no idea that I was going to be a stand-up comedian. So I just wanted to be in that. Robin Williams was my favourite
Okay.
performer.
What a genius he was.
Wow.
You know,
So you
when
wanted
I
to be-
saw him on Happy Days, that just blew my mind.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
became a
okay.
big fan, and that probably took me into the world of stand-up.
Was he in Happy Days or was he just in Mork and Mindy? That was the spin-off,
No, he was
wasn't
in
it?
Happy's
Days
first
So he was in
appearance.
it first.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
He had a guest appearance on Happy Days.
Yeah, right.
Where Richard
Cunningham.
Cunningham had a dream that an
right.
alien came in.
Well, he played the alien.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And he was playing the alien, which was Mork.
Yeah,
It was such
right.
a successful character.
That they did the spin-off, yeah.
They did the spin-off. So I was just blown away by that character. But then I was blown away by Robin Williams and the way he did stand-up and all that sort of stuff. And eventually I ended up going to drama school. So I went to Rusden, so to be, which was a course to become a drama teacher.
Yep.
So I did a Bachelor of Education in drama.
Yeah, right.
And I met Simon Palomares, who was in Wogs Out of Work.
Yep.
And he said to me, do you want to do we did some work together. We did some characters called the Tibaldi Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
After we finished, he goes, do you want to maybe do some stand-up shows for a bit of extra money? Because I was doing my teaching around and
Yep.
all that sort of stuff, emergency teaching until I found a job. He goes, do you want to do some stand-up and do some tryouts? We did probably one tryout. And then we just had work.
Yep.
Wow.
We started with the Comedy Cafe came up to us. They said, you want to do a season,
Wow.
5-week season, 7 nights a week.
Jeez.
Wow.
We go, we haven't got a show. Write a show and you've got a gig.
Yeah.
So they loved it so much.
That's how you
Wow.
started.
And we did this thing, and that later became Wogs Out of Work.
Yeah, right. So,
So-
that was the
so-
nucleus of it, was it?
That was the nucleus. So the first half was sketches, like in Wogs Out of Work, and the second half was myself and Simon being the Tibaldi Brothers, which were like, a comedy duo, a bit,
Yeah.
Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin.
Sure.
But it wasn't ethnic based, or was it?
It was ethnic
Oh, it
based,
was
but it
ethnic
wasn't
based.
attempted ethnic based. It was just what we did.
Just your life?
So we
They
did
say
our jokes.
They say write what you know. So
And then the
this is-
newspaper was going, ethnic comedy is coming to Melbourne with the Tibaldi Brothers. Check them out.
Wow.
Ethnic comedy arrives at last. We went, that's what we do, ethnic comedy.
Was that the first of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first of it. So we did a bunch of shows. So we did, we did the Fringe festivals,
Yep.
and we did this, and we were on Star Search, and then
Wow.
we had Giannopoulos come up to us and go, hey, do you want to do a show together? Like, I've got a couple of characters. You want to do a show together? And we can call it Wow. And we've gone, what's Wow? And he goes, Wogs Out of Work. We go, yeah, we can do that, great. And then I got a gig doing the Flying Doctors for 3 years, so I couldn't be in Wogs Out of Work.
DJ.
So I was DJ
Yeah.
on the Flying Doctors, which is meant to be an Italian character. And I said, well, why do you want to call him Dominic for? We'll call him Dimitri if I'm Greek.
Yeah.
I play Greek character. It could be Dimitri Joannidis, DJ.
Yeah.
Fine, we got that. And later on I played Memo, which Dominic for short is Memo
Oh,
in
is
Italian,
that where it came from?
which is funny.
So
So,
this was what, in the 80s?
this is about 85.
And then Wogs Out of
85,
Work
86.
started in what year was that?
So in Sydney, Simon and I came up after Star Search, and we did Oxford Street. We did the Hip Hop Club, which later became the Good Bar.
Right.
Did you ever go to the Good Bar?
Yeah, I did.
So that was a great cabaret venue.
Yeah, it was a cool
This is
bar.
before
It was
my
comedy.
time.
Vince,
Yeah, it is.
Vince Sorrenti was there. We were there, and then there were bands there.
Yeah, okay.
So it was a
Fantastic. Yeah,
you know.
good era.
And then so I went off to do the Flying Doctors, and Nick and Simon got together, and they were going to put together a show, but it was going to be a wedding show, like a Dimboola show about a wog wedding.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, but that didn't follow through. And then they put a couple of characters together and got a girl called Maria Bordesi, who was Italian.
Yep.
So they had a Spanish, a Greek, and an Italian, and that was the first Wogs Out of Work.
Right.
And Mary didn't come in till later, and then same with me. They, you know, the reason I was asked back because the show was so successful that they needed two companies working together, and they were fighting with Maria Bordesi all the time.
Okay.
So to keep her happy, they got me and Steve Bastoni
Oh,
to
right.
join up with Maria Bordesi, and we had the second company. You know, so there were two companies going on at the same time all around Australia.
Wow.
And Mary Coustas was asked to fill in for Maria and the other, so it was Simon Mary.
Yeah.
And then eventually Simon had enough because we did Acropolis Now as well during then and put that show together. And then Nick and Simon weren't getting along, so Simon said, "Stuff is all, I'm leaving, I'm going to Spain." Then Nick got me and Mary to do the company, the Wogs Out of Work company for the rest of the tour. But 14 of us ended up in Wogs Out of Work.
Yeah.
You know, because when I finished working on that show, you know, there was other people. Even Aussies played.
So it
people
went
come
on.
in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had some Lebanese actors coming in. We had some other Italians.
Well, talk to us a little bit about the importance of Wogs Out of Work. I mean, that seems to be a seminal moment for, let's call it, ethnic comedy. Why do you think it resonated with so many people?
When it went from the fringe into the mainstream.
Sure.
When we were doing the Tiboldi Brothers, we got the Wogs coming along going, finally, there's something here for us. But when Wogs Out of Work started, the Aussies were coming on to see what everyone was talking about.
Sure.
And the Aussies were going, yeah, we can relate to this. We've got,
got
my
neighbours.
family's members married to a Greek, or
Yeah.
we've got Italians down the end of our street. Oh, we love going for pasta.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the local
So it was
Greek
capturing
and
an-
Italian restaurants. Yeah.
And, and that part of that catchment was Hector Crawford from Crawford Productions,
Oh, right.
who came to see the show. He didn't laugh, but he could see everybody else laughing.
Yeah.
And he went, there's something in this.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they got me to talk to Simon and Nick about doing a TV show.
Yep.
And that's when we came up with,
Acropolis Now.
Wow.
because they wanted a not Hey Hey Saturday, what was that show called? Comedy Company,
Oh, right. Yeah.
which is
Like a
a
sketch
show
show.
with sketches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they wanted with ethnic characters.
Yeah.
We went, hey, maybe let's not do that. Why don't we do a sitcom?
Yeah.
So
And what a sitcom.
At that stage, sitcoms were really popular. There was Cheers and Happy Days and what have you. So they've gone, all right, go away and write it. And we've gone, what, us? You want us to write it? We've only been in the business for a couple of years. How are we supposed to write? They go, don't worry, we'll give you some. They gave us Andrew Knight, who was probably the most famous script editor on Australian TV.
right.
So he came along and he helped us, and we wrote the first pilot. And we
So
did
what
it.
sort of stuff had Andrew been involved with to that point?
If you look up Andrew Knight, he's done everything, like comedies, but also dramas.
Sure.
The whole lot. I don't know if he still works, but he was the man.
But what a moment as well. Acropolis Now, having ethnic comedy on television.
Yeah.
Having these young up-and-coming actors as well.
Yeah.
Ethnic actors. What did it mean for you and for the people around you to be seeing something like that and being represented
For me,
like
I
that?
was working.
Yeah.
So it was, wow.
That's what it was for you.
I was working. But for other people, it's like, oh, finally, it's something we can relate to. For the Aussies, it's kind of like the Lebanese humour now, or the African humour. The Aussies were going, hey, because us Greeks, we used to be the enemy. And all of a sudden, the Aussies were going, oh, they're actually nice.
Yeah.
Oh, they're funny. Oh, they're charming characters.
Was it an
Did it-
equaliser? I think that's what you were probably going to say.
Yeah.
Like, did it actually help?
It helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all of a sudden, oh, they're nice.
There's acceptance there. Did it feel like work you're saying before you're doing this, or is it something that just
No, it was
came
just
naturally?
the ride. It was just the ride, being on
just-
that ride. At the moment I'm reading Slash's book, Slash
Yep.
from Guns N' Roses.
Yes.
The guy was earning, he had like $15 million. He still didn't have a home.
Yeah.
He was still drinking bourbon instead of eating food.
Wow. Yeah.
Probably still
and
is.
being, in a gutter with heroin in his arm, and he had $15 million.
So it's like a roller coaster ride, is what you're saying.
It's
Just
a
didn't know
roller
when to
coaster
get
ride,
off.
yeah.
So you just got out of school, you did your drama course,
yeah.
you did your bit with Simon, all of a sudden,
Yeah.
bang.
I haven't done a day's work in my life, a serious day's work, like a job. Feel my hands; they're soft.
I can see, and even the way you look, you look like a young spring chicken still. Eh? Look at you haven't worked.
Yeah.
Eh?
So I just turned 60.
Wow.
Are you 60 now?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Don't tell anyone.
Far
Oh,
out.
we won't say anything.
You look outstanding.
60, mate. You look younger than me, I guess.
Yeah.
He does look younger than you.
Yeah, and you.
Probably.
I don't think you got grey hair. You got grey hair?
I haven't got hair, so you can't tell.
Your beard.
It's easier that way.
Yeah.
No, it's coming out grey now. It's coming about a little bit of
Good
pepper.
stuff. What a ride. So tell us more about Acropolis Now. So what was it like being on the set? How was it like working?
Apparently, they were the best shows to go to, from what the fans have been telling me.
Yep.
We even had the staff at Channel 7 come to our show.
Really?
So we had our crews coming, and they'd sit in the back row, and they'd, like in sport, they'd be
Like
chanting
cheering.
along.
Really?
So if we ever stuffed up, they'd go, shoot, goal!
Wow.
So if you ever get, I don't know if anyone's got the box set. If you
Yep.
watch the box set and
Yep.
there's the bloopers, you can hear them in the
Yeah.
background.
Yeah, right.
So they used to, not heckle us, but yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow. So look, speaking of that, what's it like memorising all these lines and stuff? Do you ever stuff up? Do you ever ad lib?
Yeah, you do stuff up and you do ad lib.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
quite
because we had a
often?
week to learn the scene, or the scenes.
So how does it work? So I've got no idea about.
So we
what
used
you
to
do.
write,
Who writes it?
We took turns in writing it.
So
Until
you
we
write
got-
the story. This is what's going to sound like.
Yeah, so a
this is
script would
funny.
take probably 5 weeks to write.
Right.
So I had to write, an episode. So let's say I wrote Greek Easter.
Is this 5 weeks for one episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd write it, and then the boys would come in, throw around some suggestions, and I'd write it. Then the story editor would come in and put lines through all the lines, do start again. Page 56 was good.
And who's the editor?
So it depended who we had. So we
Okay.
had like Andrew Knight at the start, and then we had a guy called Peter Herbert towards the end, and all that sort of stuff. And then we had, because the three of us put it together, myself, Simon, and Nick. So we'd have our sessions where we go through the script and throw in suggestions and what have you. So then after that, when it was the week for the show to be shot, we'd come in, we'd do a read through around the table. Again, we throw around ideas. People get shitty because they didn't have as much lines as the other person. All that
Was there a
sort
lot of
stuff.
friction?
Yeah, all the
Really?
time. There's tension also because we take turns in writing the script. So if it wasn't your script, if you were the script writer, you were the one that's copying all the, hey, I don't like that, or my character wouldn't do that. What'd you make me say that for? I wouldn't say that, So
Because there's a lot of strong personalities,
yeah,
I'm
so
sure.
a lot of strong personalities, and you try harder for your own script than you did for someone else's.
Would you take a lot of the?
No,
a lot of it on
I
board?
tried all the time, hard
Yeah,
for
right.
everybody. What did Mary say? Anyway,
She didn't talk about that.
Well,
She had the
Mary,
best things
no.
to say.
yeah,
You'll have to listen.
But then later on, when we were really busy, because we were touring with not only Wogs Out of Work, then we did an Acropolis Live show.
really?
So we were touring with that. We didn't have really the 5 weeks to write each episode. So we got some guest writers in. They weren't as good as us.
Yeah, right.
So then the scripts became a bit kind of like Aussie-fied.
So what do you do in that situation? Are you doing rewrites at the last second, or
and we're on the spot sometimes, or you take it home, you learn your lines, and you add a couple of Jim-isms or Memo-isms or Effie-isms.
It's a good point you make.
Yeah.
Like this Knight guy you spoke about, how would he know what's funny and good? Doesn't have that
because
Greek.
when I was writing from my history. So I was writing from watching Coustas and Van Gogh, in the
right.
Greek cinema.
so
up
you're
the
quite
road.
influenced by that then?
Yeah, there was a lot of that in me, or my experiences at home.
Yeah.
Then you get the Aussie guy, or the Jewish. No, our Jewish guys probably had a better idea, but the Aussie guy trying to write. There was one guy who was a famous film director or writer, director. He wrote an episode. It was the Elvis episode, and it was like, mate, this is sci-fi. This isn't a. It's an episode of Acropolis Now. This is a sci-fi movie. What are you doing? Elvis's head is in the fridge.
Yeah.
Like, what's that shit about?
Yeah.
It was too late. We had to do it. We didn't
right.
have time to go, no, we can't do that, no.
Wow.
Jeez.
Fascinating.
So and the worst direction that our show took was when we had a Swedish guy working in the cafe, Lars, and Effie was in love with Lars. There's no way Effie would be in love with this dude. It's just-
But you had Skip in the end, the tall blonde.
Skip was perfect.
Skip
because
was
Skip
yeah.
was represented the Australian, you know.
It's like a Crocodile Dundee sort
He
of
was learning from us and we were learning from him, which is what was happening.
Yeah.
And that was the process of the show. The audience was learning from the, you know, from the Greek characters.
Wow. Can I ask you that? So when you're acting, right?
And Spanish characters, sorry. Simon.
Yeah. Sorry, Simon. So when you're acting and you forget your lines and you start to ad lib, do you actually see the other actors as well in their eyes? Like you think, fuck, what are you saying? What's going on
You
here?
just
Where are
got
we
to
going
keep
with
going until you can't go any further.
Okay.
Sometimes you get some magic out of it, but not all the time.
this? Okay.
But on stage, you can. On stage, you can ad lib because you have to. You can't
Yeah.
stop the show because you've forgotten your lines.
Can you give us some examples that would have happened? Can you think of any?
It was that long ago, I can't, you know.
Yeah,
but
okay.
still, as a stand-up comedian, I get up to a bit and I go, what am I supposed to say?
Yeah.
Classic.
And then something will happen. I'll go, oh, and I'll get it.
Yeah.
But just
Yeah, but comedians are the best at this. You guys can stand up, and if someone heckles you, you guys have got the quickest comebacks.
yeah, I don't like it though. I don't like
Do you ever
it.
get heckled?
Tahir loves it. I hate it.
Yeah.
Really?
I hate it. You know, it's like, you know, you're doing, you know, a Shakespeare production or, you know,
Yeah.
Sophocles or something, you know, and then someone's gone, that's rubbish.
Yeah.
I'm not say something interesting. What are you going to do?
Okay.
You're going to change it? Or
Yeah.
You're going to keep going with the script?
Or do you
know?
heckle him? Do you?
Yeah, you have to. You,
You
have
have
to
to get
smash them, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you good at it?
Survival. No, I'm shit at it. Survival of the fittest.
Yeah, right.
But Tahir, who I do shows with, is very good. We did,
Legend.
Crazy Rich Ethnic show
Yeah.
together. He thrives on it, but sometimes he gets caught out too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we had a guy recently with Crazy Rich Ethnics. He just came up. I do like this TikTok dance presentation, and he just jumped on. Now I could have gone, get off, mate, get off the fucking stage.
You jumped on the stage.
But I just got him. I said, follow me, do whatever I do, and we did it together. I've got it on the
Classic.
thing, and the people loved it. Same guy, Tahir's halfway through. He's gotten there late because he had a previous function. So he got up at the second half. He's doing it. This guy gets up again. Tahir's going, what's going on? And he's yelling at him. He wants to be part of the show. Like Tahir can handle himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when it's out of control, it's out of control.
Yeah.
He goes, and Tahir goes, you know what, mate? Just leave. Just leave. You're
Yeah.
spoiling it for everyone else. Just leave. He goes, oh, I'm going to go take a shit anyway.
Wow.
This
Yeah,
guy,
because
this Malaka. I don't even know what nationality. I don't know if he was Greek, Italian. I don't know what he was.
Yeah.
Anyway, his brother comes up to us after the show. He goes, oh, yeah, my brother was doing really good then. You shouldn't have kicked him out. He was really funny. Yeah, maybe to you.
Yeah.
The rest of the audience, when we kicked him out, he went, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, that would be tough. I can imagine. Up there, everyone's looking at you. You got your
Right,
set.
if you're stoned or drunk,
Yep.
it's really funny.
Yep.
Because you go home, you think you're a legend.
Yeah.
What the audience hears is Malakia, 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 Malakia. What is this shit?
Yeah.
come
We
for
didn't
this.
pay for this.
Yeah, we come for this.
Yeah.
Because it might be a little bit magic, but it's never real magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So can you think of an example of where you were heckled and how you responded?
There's one terrible incident. I was doing the last proxy in Melbourne. It was a show about arranged marriages
Okay.
that I'd written, and there was a woman, and she had these glasses like, you know, those opera glasses, you know, and they hold them like
On the end of your
just a-
nose.
those ones, and they
nose.
hold them
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've started going for her,
Yeah.
poor thing,
Yeah.
and I'm just giving it to wankers and posh dickheads coming to our show, and who the fuck do they think with their glasses, their opera glasses? I gave her so much shit, and no one in the crowd was laughing.
Ooh, okay. That's not a good thing.
And I'm going, fuck, I'm giving him some great lines. What's going on with this crowd? Anyway, I'm giving it to her. She gets up and she leaves. I go, yeah, blah, blah, blah. She falls down the steps.
Oof.
Her husband is walking with her.
Mm.
And then Tony, my friend,
Yeah.
I was talking before, he's the director. He came backstage during the break. He goes, what did you do? I go, what's going on? What's wrong with those people? They're not laughing. He goes, the woman was blind and she needed the glasses to see the
shit.
show.
Oh.
Just helped.
Jesus.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And there was another show recently where I was just doing, you know, any Greeks in, yeah, any Cypriots, yeah, any Macedonians, yeah, who gives a shit, I'm Greek, you know, just do that. And this girl wrote me this long letter. I came to see you, you're one of my favourite actors, and you did that line, and I was there with my Maltese husband, and he was so offended because we love you, and you treated us like shit, and you said that thing about Macedonians, and I've gone, maybe I should stop doing that.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. I'm just making fun of people that make fun of people, because of their nationality. I didn't mean to offend you. I meant to say, aren't people dickheads when they say that sort of thing? But you know what? I'm going to take it out.
Yeah, yeah.
And I took it out, and it's actually better.
Yeah.
It's better because we get a lot of.
It is a fine line as well.
Yeah, it's a funny line, and really, you're supposed to go, ha,
Yeah.
But
You got to be a bit thick-skinned when you go to comedy shows anyway.
Yeah, you have to be.
Yeah.
And some people aren't. They don't know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got to cater for your audience.
Yeah.
You think about it, there are so many comedians out there who couldn't get away with it nowadays. Like, what's his name? Don Rickles. Like, you could not get away with that kind of comedy today, could you?
No. And when you have people talking about political correctness in comedy, you just play that tape.
Yeah.
Just say, look at these people. When Thingo got slapped, Chris Rock got slapped.
Yeah, well, we spoke about it at length with Angela.
Okay. So play Don Rickles
Yeah.
and how he used to hang shit on every member of the Hollywood community, every actor in that crowd. And just...
He used to be different in some respect because he would come out all guns blazing.
Yeah.
But then right at the end of the show,
at
the end of his set, he always had these disclaimers where he was just like, this is just a laugh. I love black people. I love Jews. I love, whatever the hell it is.
Well, he's Jewish.
Of course.
But
he had to say that as though it's like, okay, this is the disclaimer. This is just an act, guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then afterwards, he'd hang shit on what he just
Exactly.
said. Now, I'm going to take this break to eat this delicious...
Go for it. While you do...
Yeah, you eat.
So we've spoken a little bit about your roles, but we've kind of gone around your main character, but haven't really spoken about him. Tell us a little bit about Memo, because he is just, in my opinion, an iconic character of Australian comedy.
Yeah,
How did he come about?
So you know how I said, I was influenced probably by Vutsa and Vengo.
I'm so pleased to hear that.
Not Psalti as much. I reckon Nick was more from a Psalti angle.
You're
But
right,
I loved Vutsa. We used to go to a lot of Greek cinema when I was a kid. So I reckon there's a bit of that in Memo.
Yeah.
And there's also a bit of my characters in my family, like with a male or female. He's got both elements. He's got that traditional, both sides of him, the aggro manly thing, but then also the traditional kind of nurturing thing as well.
Sure.
So when I was talking to Nick about characters, we were at a cafe and we were talking about it, and we go, we should do a character that's a bit like that guy at, that guy that got killed, stabbed in Melbourne, and he was the owner of a famous Italian coffee shop. Remember that guy? It was is it Peroni's? Not Peroni's. Pellegrini's.
Okay.
Is the famous cafe.
Right.
I can't remember his name. Anyway, Pellegrini's. So people would go into Pellegrini's and he'd yell at them.
Right.
Especially the Aussies.
Yeah.
So they go in and they used to like it. They go there to get yelled at.
Right.
So
kind of
they'd
like the
go,
soup Nazi type thing.
Yeah, like the soup Nazi or the Blues Brothers. Can we have a pizza? Not pizza, pasta. He was like that. So we said, let's have a character like that, that gets fired up with the crowd. The more he more tells them off, the more they love it. So that's where Memo came from.
Right.
And the name Memo, Nick had a character called Memo in Wogs Out of Work.
Right.
So a guy that he went to school with in Richmond. And I played soccer in Doncaster with a Memo too. So I really loved that name because it wasn't Spiro or Con or, George, the regular names. It was something different, Memo. I didn't know a lot of Memos apart from Memo Babaroglu, whose name was. He was a great soccer player. So I said, right, let's call him Memo.
Was it short for Dominic? Is that what you said initially?
No, in Italian, Dominic is Mimo.
Okay.
M-I-M-M-O.
Okay.
So Agamemnon in Greek
Agamemnon,
is
that's
Memo.
right. Yep.
Yeah.
How can I
Or
forget
Memos.
that?
Yeah. So that's where I got the, I don't know where the Giannopoulos came from, but probably
who is he?
The back of my mind somewhere, I don't know.
Who is he? Is he based on someone in particular from your family or from your experience?
No, it's a combination of all that stuff. He just evolved into this thing.
So this voice is just came out of you as a conglomeration.
So
I
all
guess,
the
of all
popular
these things.
culture, all the history inside me became Memo.
Yeah.
So he loved Rambo and Rocky.
Yeah.
You know, he loved John Travolta or Saturday Night Fever. He loved the Bouzouki. He loved we had a Kiss machine in the. So these are all me coming out.
So it's similar to like a Basil from Faulty Towers, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
From the English version,
not Basil.
the
No,
Greek
Manuel.
version.
It's sort of Manuel.
He is more
Manuel.
Manuel.
Manuel,
Yeah.
but,
Sorry, right,
but there was a
actually.
bit of Basil in him too because he used to not like people
Yeah.
in the cafe. Yeah, that was his job, look after them.
Yeah. Classic. And he played that role for 6 years?
Yeah.
And that's what, do you think that's what made you on the world stage?
Yeah.
Or?
Well, not the world stage, because
Did it get
Acropolis
overseas?
Now didn't go very, we tried to sell it to Greece, they didn't want it.
Yeah, okay, I can see. Did
They
it go to
don't
the
get.
States?
They don't
And we
get
were going
that
to sell
comedy
it to
there.
we were going to sell it to the BBC at the start, but originally it was called the Wog Bar. And when they saw Wog Bar, they went, "No, we don't do that. You can't. This is like you can't call something the Wog Bar. You get killed if you call it the Wog Bar. In the UK, that means something else.
Yeah.
So that's why we changed it to Acropolis Now. The name Acropolis Now came from an episode of the Flying Doctors that I was in, where DJ was in love with a Greek girl.
Okay.
That had come into the town, and her dad put a little Greek restaurant in in Cooper's Crossing, and it was called the Acropolis Now.
Wow.
And I remembered that. No, sorry, it wasn't called the Acropolis Now. It was just the episode was called Acropolis Now. And I said to the boys, we can call it Acropolis Now after that episode. And they've gone, yeah, okay, let's do that.
Fantastic. And that's how the name came about.
So it was supposed to be called the Wog Bar.
Yeah. Okay. And did the BBC
Because a Kapiniaris was originally called the Wog Bar. So when you went to a Kapiniaris,
Okay.
and that's why we wanted to call it the Wog Bar, because the Acropolis, I don't know if you remember the first episode, but it was a Kapiniaris, and then we turned it into a restaurant, like a Neptune's or something.
Yeah, sure.
like a hangout
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing. Wow.
yeah.
Could have called this podcast the Wog Bar.
It could be. Couldn't tell it to BBC though.
Yeah, you couldn't.
So did it go overseas? I thought it did. The series.
No, we sold
never
it
did.
to
Okay.
Jordan, Israel, Malta. Was number one show in Malta.
Wow.
Really?
Greece and Italy, not interested. Spain, not interested.
Wow.
New Zealand. That was about it.
So Jordan, Israel, Malta.
Yep.
It took off. Wow.
Why do you think it didn't resonate with the Greeks? I mean, we've had this discussion before with other people about how the current crop of Greeks, for example, who see this kind of comedy don't get it, because it's not been their experience.
Have you ever tried with your relos in Greece to tell them that we call them wogs? And what was their reaction? Emείς wogs, εμείς, μας λένε wogs, εμείς,
Yeah.
Too proud.
εμείς είμαστε ξένοι.
Yeah.
Nick's show, the Wog Boy went over there, but he called it Elinaras, I think he called it.
Well, Kings of Mykonos
that
certainly
was the
wasn't
second
called
one,
it, because
yeah.
that certainly wasn't called the Wog
Yeah,
Boy.
I think
called,
I think the first one was Elinaras, and they didn't like it.
yeah. I think
Kings of Mykonos they liked a bit more.
Kings of Mykonos, I think, was actually called Kings of Mykonos,
Yeah.
just by itself,
Yeah,
like that. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting that that the comedy doesn't translate
Yeah.
as well. Angelo had a
But yet
had a
it
thing
works.
about that.
It works in Malta because the whole of Malta lives in Australia,
Right.
Okay. So they're
so
all,
they get it.
Yeah.
because they've been there and back.
Yeah, right.
so it's definitely an expat thing. It's a
Yeah.
diaspora thing.
And I'm sure there's still Greeks that love the series and have got the DVD sets.
100%. It's iconic.
And in America, in Canada and America, Angelo was telling me that, a lot of people have watched the show.
Mary was saying that Henry Winkler had seen it, and that he was really, and that he loved it, and he loved Mary's performance in it. I'm sure he would have loved your performance too.
I think
Well,
he
she
called
was like
Mary
she was like the
female
Fonz in our show. She
Yeah.
was the Fonz. She used to walk in, steal the show.
What a character that was too. What was it like working with Mary?
She was a powerhouse. At the start, she had trouble. She didn't. The first episode she did, she played the character similar to the character she was doing Wogs Out of Work, which is a character called Poppy, and she sort of had one ponytail, that volcano look,
Yeah,
and she looked like a teenage Greek girl,
right.
annoying teenage Greek girl. So it didn't quite work the first episode, and then the second appearance, the wardrobe department dressed her up a bit more sassy, and they gave her they teased her hair,
Yep.
Yeah,
and that was the first version of the real
Yeah.
Effie.
And everyone could relate
And the
to
lines
that.
were a bit more like, power lines,
it's interesting. Effie's look is very 80s, and Memo's look is very 70s.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a very interesting.
Great point.
It's a very
And
interesting
Memo and Effie
dichotomy.
used to lock horns.
Yeah.
That was the culture
Powerful
clash there.
characters.
Yeah.
Was there sexual tension there? I mean, between the characters, not between you and Mary.
No, both. No,
Both.
Classic.
Nick and Mary were in a relationship during that time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were in a relationship, but no, with us. When I first met Mary, she annoyed me.
Really?
She goes, that song you do in the show, that's Robbie McCullers, that's my friend, you stole it. I go, yeah, well, he gave it to us. So we had an argument the first time we met each other.
Jeez.
I could imagine so many Greeks in one area, strong personality. There would have been a bit of tension.
And she was in another drama school, so there was a bit of tension.
Oh, so
but
there
then
was that too.
they used to come to all our shows, you know.
Okay.
When Nick and Mary were dating the first time around, they used to come to all our shows, like kind of, you know, in the audience supporting our stuff. So, and then I did a play with her. So I did a play called Peace by Aristophanes, but in English, and she was in the cast and I was in the cast, and that's we got to know each other.
And what about Nick as well? Obviously, he's gone on to do a whole bunch of other things with those, those Wog Boy movies. What role did he play in all of this? You know, obviously he played a key role in Acropolis Now and Wog's Out of Work and whatnot.
He was successful because Wog's Out of Work was him and Simon, you know, and Mario Portesi. They owned it, so he was successful. He never had to work in the clubs.
Yeah, right.
He went straight from nothing to fame, you know. So he had a big head because of it, you know. He you know, it's the only way I can put it. So he never saw
probably justifiably
he
too.
never saw failure. So he was gung ho through the whole thing. You know, he was more of a producer than an actor.
Sure.
So he was more worried about what it looked like on the thing than being in the moment as an actor and playing the scene. He would be looking at the screen, going, do I look good? How's my hair? Is everything good? Are they laughing at us?
Yeah.
So he was kind of had a dual role in the show.
Sure. Very
Whereas when I was performing, I just became Memo. I didn't even, you know, I was in the moment. Yeah. So,
do you miss the character, or do you use him now?
There's no way I can play Memo again.
Really?
But I do play a character which is an elderly lady character, which has a lot of Memo in it.
Yeah.
So it's the Ellie character. I don't know if you've ever seen it, where she talks about getting fucked with a fucksination. You know?
Yeah.
Actually, yes, funny. I did see that.
Yes. So there's a lot of Memo in her. Yeah. But me to deliver Memo in my body doesn't work.
Really?
No.
Why couldn't you do it now? Is it?
I don't know.
What do you mean?
I just could. I've tried a couple of times, you know, just do some posts and stuff. It doesn't. Yeah.
It doesn't
I don't know.
work.
Maybe in a situation where we've got a script and a set and it'll work better, you know. But
I've got to say there are some classic lines out of Memo. The one that sticks out for me and has always sticked out for me was the thing with the, you know, if you're a good girl, I'll let you play with my furry dice.
Yeah. I don't even remember that, but it sounds
that
like
absolutely killed me. Do you remember it?
There's a lot,
I take you to the beach, and I let you. If you're a good girl, I let you play with my furry dice.
Yeah.
There's a scene, I don't know if Rob Shahady, you know, the Lebanese guy. Yeah, he loves the scene where I'm dating Harula.
Yeah.
You know, and I say you and me on the beach in our bathing suits.
Yeah.
You know. But that is basically me thinking of all those Greek movies, because they always used to go to the beach and have like a nude scene or a bathing suit scene. So that's Giannopoulos, by the way. Who was the actress in that. Yeah,
she's in My Big Fat Greek Wedding, isn't she?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there you go.
She's married. Oh, she was married to Anthony LaPaglia, and her sister's a famous actress too. Zoe Carides.
Yeah, they're all from Melbourne, aren't they?
No, they're Sydney girls.
Oh, they're Sydney girls.
Yeah,
okay.
There's three sisters.
Not everything's in Melbourne, mate.
No. There's some fine, really good actors in Sydney. Very good actors.
Classic.
Greek actors.
So I want to hear about your role in Underbelly. You played George Lefteros.
Yeah.
What does that mean, second?
So I had to ring him up to find out this is a real person.
Yeah, it's a real person. What was that like?
Right.
And it was...
I rang up.
Maybe tell the listeners who haven't
We
seen
rang
the
up
series.
George's office because I wasn't sure it was Lefteros or Lefteros or... To find out, and they told me how to pronounce the name.
So he was a lawyer. He was a real lawyer who
he
worked for the mob.
Worked for Condello, Mario Condello, I
Okay,
think, or was involved with him somehow. But then he because he was a lawyer, said, "You use my name in the show. Can't use it."
Wow.
Not allowed.
Okay.
So I couldn't say my name. So anywhere where I said my name, they cut it out of the script.
Right.
And in the titles, I was the lawyer, not George Lefteros, the lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah. So
did you get to meet him? Did you get to know how he?
No, I didn't. I met his wife. I met his wife, and she said, you know, we weren't happy about the show. You know.
Yeah.
Should we be using it in this?
Yeah, no. Well, it happens, I guess, when you meet the real life characters.
Well, Underbelly was full of real people.
We weren't happy it happened, you know. And it sort of affected our business and all that sort of stuff, you know. And I said, look, I tried to play the part as best as I could. You know? I wasn't hanging shit on your family or your husband.
Yeah.
I got the role. I played that role. So it's funny when real life meets what you do. You know, so there is an element of am I doing the right thing when you do that sort of thing? Yeah.
Just for those outside of Australia, Underbelly was absolutely massive here in the 2010s.
Yeah.
It was just, for those who don't understand, there is, an underground crime scene, or was an underground crime scene in Melbourne that this story
As
was
there
depicting.
is,
In every city.
And, if you're from Sydney, you would have gone, well, I was there when that happened.
Correct.
And I was, at the Cross when this restaurant was there or this nightclub. And
Correct.
Yeah.
But the whole premise is that they were taking those stories that were being heard in Melbourne from a particular period and turning it into a TV series, and it was massive. It was so big. It's become iconic.
I think
now.
I watched the first 9 episodes in a row without a break.
Yeah, people couldn't turn away from it.
Yeah.
It was absolutely everywhere during that. I think what was it 2007 or 8 or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember. No, it would have been after 2007 because I think I shot that scene and I was running late for work.
Yeah,
No,
right.
actually, I came back from Adelaide because we were doing a show with Joe Vardy and Simon and Nish, Il Dago, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then I came back from Adelaide, and that morning they said, "Oh, you're shooting your scenes tonight."
Yeah.
And I've gone, "Well, you could have told me." So I had a morning to not
Oh,
that
geez.
night, that day.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had to learn my scenes in a couple of hours that morning. I wasn't ready.
Did you feel
But I
as though
guess-
you were out of your comfort zone because it's not comedy, or do you feel equally as
No,
comfortable?
I would have been up to the task, but I was uncomfortable
prep.
because I was trying to remember the lines. But when you look back at it, you go, "Well, actually, he's really nervous." But I was really nervous because I didn't know my lines that
Yeah,
well.
sure.
But
So you played
he's
it well.
thinking a lot. He's scratching his head a bit.
Yeah.
So it kind of added, I guess, to the scene. But I wish I was more prepared for it.
Right. Were you happy with the end result?
Yeah, I was
in
happy
end?
with the end result. But the day I was going, "Fuck, why do we have to do it this way?"
Are you like that though? Like, do you look back at work that you've done previously?
I like to prepare. When I work, I like to prepare. Some of the actors, just jump in. They have a look at their thing. Yeah, okay, I'll do that.
You're not a method actor, is what you're saying, or are you to some degree?
Yeah, it depends on what you call a method actor. I think you have to be prepared to be a method actor, but then feel like I said, me playing Memo, I was in the moment, whereas my co-actor was looking at the scene on the TV while he was acting.
Okay.
That's the difference
So
between
Memo was-
someone that's in the moment and someone that's doing business.
Yeah, sure.
So Memo was a bit of you, I guess. It came a bit more natural, do you think? Like that you said before, the Rocky Balboa and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, it came.
But
yeah.
this role,
When I improvised Memo, it used to come out really easily.
Okay. But they thought you had to really prep for it because it wasn't natural.
Oh, I had to. Yeah,
fantastic.
Because it wasn't Memo; it was a different level. That's for sure.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing now. Is what we've seen for years now that you've been doing things like emceeing weddings. You sing in a band. You're big on your music. What's life like now for you? What are you most passionate about doing?
Yeah, at the moment, the weddings came along because of Facebook and Instagram. So people were just asking me, "Can you do
Yeah.
our wedding?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and really, it's an easy gig.
But you don't bathe the bride and groom, obviously.
Yeah, it's
Sometimes you do.
all cool. It's all fun. Yeah. But it's not a hard job.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why I do that, because I'd be stupid not to do it.
Yeah.
The band, because I really like music, but I do that every now and then.
Yep.
Actually, we've got a gig on Saturday. We haven't done it since the pandemic. I haven't done a gig, and we haven't got time to rehearse. So
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to go in cold. So
Wow. What sort of music do you play? Is
it's
it
going to be
covers
the
mostly?
Flares. So they want the Flares, which
Right.
is like a disco 70s, 80s
Fantastic.
band. And the boys in my band are the guys from Chocolate Starfish. A lot of them.
Are you, what do you do? You sing, play guitar? What's your role in the band?
I sing. I used to play guitar.
Yep.
But you got to bring the amp in. You got to do sound check. You got to get the sound right.
Let's just
then you
sing.
got to pack it up. I just sing.
Stick to sing.
My drummer said to me this week, he goes, "Can you bring your guitar as well?" I go, "You know what? I think I'm going to have to concentrate on the words." So
Yeah.
Classic. Yeah.
I've seen you on your Facebook and whatnot play things like the Beatles. You've put videos up of
So I've got a
Beatles
show.
songs and
I've got a
whatnot.
show called A Night at the Wopera with Gab, and that's very musical. So
Yeah.
we do, a WOG version of the Beatles, and then the Jersey Boys, and then we do Queen, a WOG version of Queen, and yeah. So that's fun. I like, and I play a lot in that. That's I play for.
Is that the sort of stuff you were influenced by?
Oh, we've got
growing up?
Lockdown the musical now, so we've done a parody
Okay.
about lockdown, so which is good. Yeah.
Well, maybe should we talk about the lockdown? What was it like being locked down
Yeah,
in
let's talk about
Victoria?
that.
Well, we didn't work for 2 years, so Yeah,
Because it was one of the most locked. Melbourne was one of the most locked, or it was the most locked down city
It was like
in the world.
lockdown came and just ate us. Actually, at one stage I was in Sydney and it was following me.
You're kidding.
You know when I went through Mascot, started there?
Yeah.
And I kept on changing my accommodation. I kept on jumping to the next accom. I got to Earlwood and it was coming from Mascot. And then I got on the plane and got out before it got into Mascot. And I landed in Melbourne. They'd go, oh, you've been in a red zone, haven't you? Which is if you're in a red zone, you have to isolate for 14 days. I go, no, I was still in an orange zone. So I was still... So if you're not orange zone, I think you had to test...
Right.
Do a test, and if you were fine, you were fine.
Go home, yeah.
But if you're a red zone, you had to quarantine for 14 days.
So τη γλίτωσες. You were okay.
Just.
Wow.
Just.
So what was it like in Melbourne? Like we heard some horrific things here in
It was
Sydney.
720 days of nothing.
Unbelievable.
Was that straight 720 days?
No, it was like 300 and something and then 300 and something.
Shit.
But we couldn't leave the house sometimes. We couldn't...
Yeah.
After 8 p.m, you couldn't leave the house. We couldn't travel 5 kilometres from the house. Masks all the time, this, that.
So what did you do for your livelihood? You know, you're a comedian,
So
actor. What did you
I was
end up
selling box sets of Acropolis Now. It's a bit, I did a bit of that.
doing?
I
Okay.
did a couple of Zoom performances, which were terrible. I hated those.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was it. Luckily, I got JobKeeper and a couple of grants from the government.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had a company, or a business rather than a sole trader thing.
Yeah, right.
And I got some money that way. But
Yeah. Were you writing material at all? Did you take advantage of the
no,
time?
it was the most. It was nothing. There's no stimulus at all.
Yeah.
Wow.
What saved me was actually playing music.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
So I just play.
What would you do? Just get the guitar out and play?
Get the guitars out, play songs, learn, lead breaks or solos or that was the thing.
It wasn't a very inspiring time, was
No,
it?
it wasn't inspiring at all.
Yeah.
It was so.
Was there anything positive that came out of it for you for being in lockdown for
Well,
so long?
talking about it. So now talking about it is kind of I got that
Yeah.
material out of it.
You got a lot of good material out of it from the Vux and all that.
And you know what? Yeah, all that the
funny.
fucks shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my kids, I reckon it's they don't want to go to school anymore.
Yeah.
They're 2 years without school.
Yeah.
Why do we have to go to school now? Because you have to go to school. I can do school from here. I did it 2 years ago.
I think people are saying that about their jobs anyway.
Yeah, about the jobs, everything.
Far out, the world's
Yeah,
changed.
I think it's stuffed us up, definitely.
Yeah.
Stuffed us up.
But we
But
sort
the
of
kids were fine about vaccinating. They
Yeah.
wanted to do it. I was trying to keep them away from it, but they wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I felt I had to because I meet so many people and shake so many hands. What if?
Yeah, that's fine.
Same with my wife. But,
Yeah.
but the kids, I really didn't want them to go there. But they went, Dad, we want the vaccination. We want to get out of the house.
Yeah.
I think that's what most people did it for. I think, or
Yeah.
two
In the
reasons.
end, yeah.
We're over it.
Some of your material was quite funny. You're talking about the boosty and all that sort of stuff.
Booster shot.
The
Yeah.
booster shot.
Well, in the Greek show we're going to do next year,
Yeah.
so it's a comedy with bazooka and stuff. We might be doing our two characters, which are two nonnies on the plane or 2 years
Yeah.
on a plane. They got the masks on. So,
Okay.
yeah. So
Stay tuned.
that was quite a good routine, yeah. We did it
Yeah.
a couple of times in Crazy Rich Ethnic, so
Oh,
I
you
might do it
did?
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the springboard now for a lot of the material that you're working on in the
Yeah, there's a lot of that COVID. People still angry about it. So
Yeah.
it's like
Dive back
therapy
into that.
sometimes.
Well, that's what this podcast was supposed to be.
Yeah, there you go.
We started. We
So
started
some
it in
good
lockdown.
things happen out of
Yeah.
It was our therapy, wasn't it?
100%
We're in
was.
lockdown. I thought, fuck, I need to get out of the house.
And we weren't half in lockdown the way Melbourne was. I mean, we've obviously got family down there, and just hearing some of the stories there, you're just like, Jesus Christ, like that's
Well, my wife didn't see her mum for how many years? A
Yeah.
couple of years.
And it was hard. And obviously, you live in a house as well. But some people lived in units,
Yeah, that's right.
2 kids.
Well, I
2-bedroom
remember
unit.
gardening. I did a lot of gardening.
yeah.
Now there's weeds everywhere. I haven't gone
Couldn't
near
care less.
the decking.
Yeah.
Then the house was pristine. I wish I kept those
Classic.
photos because
Actually, that's true
it was
because
looking fantastic.
I remember I was telling you I got COVID on when was it? It was I tested positive on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve, and by New Year's Day, I was sick. The following day, though, I was painting all of my outdoor furniture. I felt awesome.
Classic.
Yeah.
There would be no other time in the,
Well,
something like that would
I
happen.
got COVID recently from doing a wedding, by the way. 2 weeks before that, my son was really sick with the flu. They both were. Flu. They were floored. They were on the,
It's been bad since.
And then John gets COVID and he's doing cartwheels. And he's going, Dad, I don't have COVID.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a test. You've got COVID. I do not have COVID. I feel fine.
Yeah.
He's jumping on the furniture. He's having cabin fever again.
How old is he again?
So he's 11.
11, okay. Because my 4-year-old tested positive as well, and mate, he couldn't have been more active. You had no idea.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, there's a lot of, even like you said before, I actually built a retaining wall. I relayed grass. I was chopping trees down. So that 14-day period we had, isolation, was fantastic.
Yeah.
I fixed my whole garden, my backyard.
Yeah.
I got a veggie patch now. Yeah, there's a lot of
14
benefit that
days
came
is
out of it.
good, but for 720 days,
No thanks.
it's like being in jail.
Yeah, I think the best time for me was when we were allowed 5 kilometres within our area.
Yeah.
And Brighton's perfect for that. We had coffee shops, we had beaches. I thought, how good's this? There's no one here.
Yeah, perfect.
The suburb's perfect. But I feel sorry for the people who lived, in units and couldn't get out.
Yeah.
That was the ones that really struggled.
Yeah,
but,
for sure. For sure.
But anyway, that's the end of that, hopefully.
Yeah.
So we're in a good place now.
Well, now, obviously, the world's opened back up and things are, hopefully getting better. Knock on wood.
That's right.
It was a good test, wasn't it, for humans?
Yeah, I mean, going back to Greece, obviously we're now, we're now able to do that again. What's your ideal trip going back over there? Do you have like a...
To
like
Greece?
Do you have like a bucket list trip that you
I
want
want
to
to
do?
go to Zakynthos next, and I'd like to see Corfu.
Good man.
I'd like to see Corfu.
What about Ipodor? Do you like the coast of Ipodor, mate?
Is it Ipodor where they... I think, he's from Ipodor. No, he's from... Is there Ikara as well? No.
Ikaria.
Basil's from there, Ikaria.
Actually, he is from there. Yes, you're
Ikaria,
right.
isn't it?
He'll live to 100 then, won't he? That's what
the
it's
place.
renowned for.
Yeah, that's the place with all
110.
long-living Greeks, yeah. So
So
in
did you
Ipodor, they drop dead early, do they?
Do they? No, we were up there. Yeah, we just...
Okay.
We're renowned for we're like mountains. It's all mountains and greenery and so forth. But then
And fighting in wars.
In
Fighting
Crete, they
wars.
drop dead early, but it's for other reasons.
For other reasons.
Not health reasons.
Tigulia, is that
Yeah.
what it is?
Yeah, they're just embalmed in it.
Yeah, exactly. They're very
like
hard
Keith
to
Richards.
Yeah.
Classic. So tell us, where would you like to go to Greece? Zakynthos, you said?
Zakynthos, I want to try. Because last trip we did Milos, because our cousins have...
Beautiful.
rental places, bed and breakfast sort of in Milos. So we did a lot of those trips through the caves and what have you. We really loved that. So, and someone told me Zakynthos... Zakynthos.
Yeah, it's
It's the same.
beautiful. Yeah,
That's a place with a big ship, yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely want to do
Beach.
that. Loved Athens this time around.
Athens
A
is
lot of people
massively
say that.
underrated.
I've never liked Athens, but I really had a great time in Athens with the kids as
I was
well.
exactly the same, and everyone has a similar story. They go there, and you think this is a shithole, and that was my experience.
It used to be a shithole in the 80s.
You know what the
and
secret
90s.
is? Don't stay with your relatives.
Oh, that's
the secret.
The nightlife there is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
But once you go and stay with the Rellos, you're their prisoner. And you can't do anything.
Because all you do is go visiting people.
Yeah.
Don't you?
And it's always the same people.
And
Like,
you leave,
it's the same group
you
of
leave
people.
the house and they go, where are you going? Oh, we're going to go visit. Yeah, but you came to see us.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere. Don't do that. But it's a free country. No, it's not.
No, it isn't.
You're here with us.
Did you ever get... So you with...
Have your bumness. And don't complain.
So I can only imagine, right? Your dad's got 17 brothers and sisters, I should say.
Had. None left now.
If you ever,
Gone.
well, they're all got kids, I'm assuming. You got a shitload of cousins there. So if you ever go back to Kalamata,
Yeah.
do you have to go and visit everyone? And if they don't,
There's
they
no
get
one
offended?
left. There's no one left from our
Really?
clan.
You're kidding?
Oh, actually, yeah,
Second
there is
cousins?
no our cousins. Yeah, there's Theo, and yeah.
So
But there's not that many.
where are they?
Actually, I haven't seen them for a long time.
Okay, are they they're all in Australia? Did they
Some
go
of
to
them are
the
still in
US?
Kalamata. Like Theo, our cousin Theo's a baker, and there's Yanula, which I haven't seen in a long time.
Okay,
And there's Michalaki, but I think he might be in Athens now.
yeah.
And that's it.
Because it's the thing, when you go back, you have to visit every relo,
Yeah,
and they
that's
get
right.
offended.
That's right.
So you spend half you're on holidays, we've worked our ass off, we want to go and relax, but no, go and visiting all these fucking
Well, in
people.
Gatterini, we had a list. But we enjoyed our time at Gatterini. But I broke my collarbone in Greece, so I had to leave.
Oh, shit. What
How
did you do?
that?
Playing soccer. I'll tell you about it later. I can't break I don't want to spoil the joke now, but I'll tell you about it later. But
That's part of the act, is it?
it's part of the act. But I broke my collarbone, and I didn't think it was broken, but I snapped it in two.
Kidding.
How can you not know?
So the lump on my shoulder wasn't a bruise. It was the bone sticking through
Wow.
Oh, Jesus.
A clean break.
So, and when my hands started going numb, I went, actually, I might do something about this. And I went to the
local doctor in Gatterini.
local doctor.
Is this
And my
Gatterini or
cousins,
Kalamata?
in Gatterini. My cousins told me, they go, he's related to us, but he fucked up Thea's knee, so don't go there. So he was going to fix it, but they went, don't go there. He fucked up Thea Sula's knee. So anyway, if you're listening,
Classic.
how are you, mate?
Do you have to give a fucking lucky?
Yeah, and he said to me, it's this much, blah, blah, blah. We rang up the insurance company in Australia and said, because he had travel insurance, we said, and there's a doctor in Gatterini, he can do the operation. The insurance company went, we know that hospital, we know that doctor, get out of there now. If you have the treatment there, the operation there, we will not cover you. You're going to come back home now, right now.
You're kidding.
Jeez.
So they flew us back. I was in business class. The family was in
Beautiful.
economy. They were
patient.
pissed off because I said to my kids, I go, we'll swap during the flight. As soon as we got in, I went down to swap. The lady goes, where are you going? I go, I'm just going to swap, and my kids, they can sit. They go, no, you can't do that. So,
Oh, jeez.
no, it was so... And
Classic.
plus, they missed out on, a week in Dubai. We were going to stay there. And
What was it like flying with a broken collarbone?
I was in luxury. I was in...
So you were okay.
Loved it.
But what happened
have to
with
do
my
anything.
collarbone, it wasn't touching. It was like that.
So it's a clean break.
So apart from not having any strength in it, I didn't really have pain. I just had awkwardness, but no pain.
Yeah, right.
But
Jeez, I
people
can't
that have
imagine
broken
trying
their
to sleep like
collarbones
that.
and the bone's still touching are in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Wow. So this was in 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
Bloody hell.
Bloody hell. Okay.
Don't play soccer, George.
Well, saying
It was
that
two
earlier.
kicks in,
Really?
and I dived for the ball. And in Thessaloniki, the goalposts, they don't paint them white like everywhere else. They paint them black like this so you can't see them. And I dived straight. I've ran straight through the post
Oh, you're kidding.
after the ball.
So you've tackled it.
Yeah, I've just run through like it wasn't there, like it was
Yeah.
a hologram.
Jeez.
And it was like... And I heard the crack, and I'm going, oh, it's still bruised. It might be bruised. And I heard the crack. I heard it go, that.
So you're,
So that's quite
you're
impressive.
trying to convince yourself, I haven't broken anything, I'm
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah, anyway.
That's impressive. So 3 years ago, you would have been what? Late 50s?
Yeah.
And you're still playing
3 years
soccer?
ago, 57.
Good on you.
Oh, and on that ground,
Yeah.
so...
Was there
It
grass?
was introduced to us...
Or was it dirt?
No, it was like an AstroTurf. It was
Yeah.
introduced to us by Fatini's cousins. We stayed with them. They were a lovely couple and the kids. Anyway, we went there. The first game, I'm running around. I'm kicking goals. The little nephews are chasing me. I'm dribbling through them, kicking goals. And I did a hammy, right? And that was 5 weeks earlier. It was like,
Bloody hell.
and then...
Soccer, eh?
It was like when we arrived in Greece playing soccer, and I did a bloody hammy. That should have been the sign: do not play any more soccer.
Yeah.
That's why we get our kids into soccer, so
Yeah.
they don't get injured.
Yeah.
Especially in Australia, we don't want to play AFL or rugby league because you get injured.
Yeah.
Get them into soccer, but there's more fucking injuries in soccer.
Yeah. There's
I
more
had a
exotic
plate.
injuries
I had
there.
a plate in my shoulder, and now my son's broken his leg in two playing soccer.
Jeez. Well, Nick actually plays for the Greek Oztag team. So he just came back from the World Cup a few weeks ago, and he came back the walking wounded.
It was fucked. Yeah, my knee.
What did you do? Knee.
Oh, my knee, yeah. Meniscus. I can't even
You
remember.
hurt your meniscus?
Yeah, I hurt my meniscus.
Tiesca ton muni.
Even during training, my calf, my hammy, but
He's
it might
going
be
to-
more to old age than collision. Yeah, well, I can
He's
walk
doing
up and
well.
down stairs now, which is good, with no pain. Normally, I'll be hanging onto the handrail with two hands trying to walk down, but it's good now. But it was my fault. I was on painkillers. So and Cipro, the last game
That was
we
the-
played
yeah.
against Ireland, we had some Cipro, so we had some couple of shots of Cipro.
So it was
before
like
we
rocket
played.
fuel. Yeah.
That was, yeah. So it was just to numb the pain. Couldn't feel anything.
Yeah.
So I'm running on a shin bone that had hairline fractures in it. So, but I couldn't feel it.
Yeah,
so,
good.
but it was good. Yeah, we got the result. So yeah, we made the quarterfinals and we did well.
And now you're crippled.
And now he's crippled.
Yeah, now I'm paying for it. Yeah.
You've obviously got a gig tonight, so we need to wrap it up slowly.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
you're now obviously in your 60s, which I still can't believe. But are there any plans to slow down at this stage?
No,
Are you-
yeah, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Retire,
What for?
I can't afford to retire.
Comedians that retire, do they?
I can still do what I'm doing until I can't do it anymore, So, and things are ramping up,
Really?
oddly enough. So I've got now...
That's great.
I've been asked to do... Paul Fennick has got a new series that he's written about dodgy politicians,
Nice.
right?
And what a legend he is too.
So he wants me to do that. I've got the basically my appearances and weddings and comedy shows that I'm doing.
How big
We've
is
got-
that? Is that like once a week, twice a week, or once
So
a month?
October, I've got 9 weddings.
9 weddings in
October.
October.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's when Paul Fennick wants me to do this series as well. So
Yeah.
Are we going to be reprising Ronnie McDougall at all? during
not
the-
for this one, no. It's going to be a totally different character. So he's going to be a dodgy Greek mayor.
Classic.
We don't have any of those.
He's going to be like what's his name from, the deputy mayor of Auburn.
Oh,
Salim.
Mahaja.
Yeah,
Mahaja.
it's going to be like a Greek version of that, I think.
Classic.
There's comedy there, 100%.
So yeah. So there's that. I've written a show with Tony Nicolakopoulos, who I mentioned before, and this is called The Life of Byron. So hopefully,
Wow.
because they can't get his name right, so
Yeah.
his name's Byron, but everyone calls him Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
all
it.
his life. So and Byron is a guy. He's got he's faced with a dilemma now. Does he look after his mum or does he put her in a nursing home? So he goes back in time as a 5-year-old, then a 12-year-old, then an 18-year-old, then a
okay.
40-year-old, then a 50-year-old, 60-year-old,
Yeah.
with moments in his life where his mum's been a part of it. Mm-hmm. And then he has to come up with a decision. Mm-hmm. Do I put her in a home? His sister, who's a lawyer, single lawyer, is going, put her in a home. We can't do this anymore. And he's going, no, she means more to me than that.
Yep.
I want to look after her.
And this isn't a comedy, is it?
It's
Or is it?
comedy moments, but
Right.
it's almost like Shirley Valentine.
Okay.
Never saw the movie Shirley Valentine?
No.
Where she goes to Greece for a holiday. She's in a shitty relationship and she lives in London or Scotland or something.
Right.
And she
look that one
she
up.
leaves her husband and she goes to and has an affair in Greece. And it's a one-woman show. So
Right.
when you see the theatre show, it's a one woman talking about her experience. But when you watch the movie,
Okay.
it's the movie.
Yeah, right.
So we've written that. So that's a plan for us to do that next year.
That seems to be something that's like a recurring theme in particularly in ethnic families as well.
Yeah.
There's this.
Well, it's a hot topic now.
It is. I mean, it's one of those things that there's a real stigma attached to it. This is the person that raised me, but at the same time, I can't provide the care
Yeah.
for this person. It's a debate
And
that seems to be happening a lot.
You know what? I've been in that situation now, and I'm a bit like the lawyer, not my character.
Yeah,
So we had to look after my auntie for 4 years,
yeah,
and that she had dementia, and that was hard work.
yeah.
And I'm just going, let's find her a home. She didn't want to leave. She didn't want to leave the house. I couldn't force her.
Yeah.
And then she died because, and she was the last of the 18, because she didn't want to go into a home. She went into a home. She might have been she was eating cornflakes every day. The only
Yeah.
time she ate something nice is when we brought her something nice to eat.
Right.
But she was just sitting at a table the whole time in darkness eating cornflakes.
Wow. Well, very topical. Very topical. We can't. We can't wait to see it. We can't wait to see what you're going to come up with next.
Yeah,
And I mean,
so the play's written. We've written. It's done.
Yeah,
so we just
fantastic.
have to grow the koyoni, that hidia, to make it. That's the hard bit.
when can we expect to see it?
If it's going to happen, it's going to happen next year.
Okay.
So after Greek Easter is
Okay.
the plan. But we'll see. So
Fantastic.
it's still a plan at the moment. But we've also got our Greek comedy show, whatever we're going to call it, the big Greek show, the big fat Greek show, whatever we're going to
When's
call
that coming out?
it. So that'll be March.
Okay.
So through March we're doing that one. That was fun. We did Canterbury Leagues a couple of times and it was pretty good. And that's
You're really
enough.
Busy man, mate.
That's enough.
I don't think it's slowing down for you, is it?
Yeah, it's not slowing down yet. No. Still
No.
busy. Still
Well,
busy.
don't stop. We
Good,
need you.
don't
We need you.
stop.
We need your comedy. We need your energy. You've been inspiring
Thank you.
generations
Thank you.
of particularly Greek kids. I guess like for me, I was watching Acropolis Now just after it sort of came out. You know, it was a big part of my childhood. Thank you for that, for a start. Thank you for your character. Yeah. Just continue what you're doing. We love it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, and I appreciate being on the show. And I had a great time. Yeah.
Well, we can't wait to see what you're going to do tonight as well. Hopefully we haven't liquored you up too much. So.
Yeah, I think I'm too drunk to do the show, but anyway.
Make the call, Nick. Make the call. We'll just stay here and drink, I think.
Yeah. Classic. Let's invite everyone over here, Nick.
Should.
That's it.
Yeah, okay, sure. We'll open up the house. Yeah,
Do we have the rights to that?
I don't know, but
we'll use it.
More importantly,
I sang it off key, so it's not in key anyway. So
Tom, we can't let him go. There's a little baglama sitting there.
There is.
Shall I play one thing?
Let's play one thing.
Practice. All right.
You played it earlier. Give us the Acropolis Now theme. Here it is.
Love me, Daddy. I'll make you proud of me. If you got troubles on your mind, you can leave them all behind, because it's a sweet... You want to hear the Greek version of it?
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay. The B-side was a Greek version.
Really?
I sold 13,000 copies of that. Yeah.
Go for it.
Babaka mi fovase, μήστε να χορευτείς, το νου σου στο ταξίδι και εγώ στο μαγαζί, και αν έχεις πρόβλημα ας τα για αργότερα, ζωή γλυκιά. Uno, due, Susie, quattro.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Exclusive here on Uzo Talk. Fantastic.
That was awesome.
George Kapiniaris, thank you very much for being on Uzo Talk.
Thank you
so much.
We love your work.
Pleasure. Love you having here.
Nick, mate, what did you think of that? Another comedian.
Unreal. Oh, I love it. I love this guy. He's the best.
He is,
Hey?
mate.
Thank you.
He's been entertaining us for, 30 years, 40 years now?
36 plus now.
Yep.
36 years, let's say.
36
37.
years.
Do we say να τα κατοστήσεις? How does this work when it comes to work?
Yeah, I don't think I can do that one. Let's go for a penindo. If we
Let's
can
go.
get a penindo
Yeah, let's do that.
And a penindadi.
That's it. Yamas. Well, here's to that. Well, look, uzotalk@outlook.com is the email. @uzotalk on most social media platforms, and @uzo_talk on Instagram. Nick Athanasiou, thank you very much, mate.
Tom, it's been awesome. I love it. I love you guys. This is fantastic.
And look, we've got our very own outro music. I don't need to add it in post.
Take us out, George.
Ακολουθήστε μας στο Soundees, στο Spotify, στο Apple Podcasts και στο Google Podcasts.